And before the next episode of the Yellow Bud podcast, we have a message from our sponsors because we will be speaking at our first ever live event for Folklore coming soon. And what is this event, Harish?
Yeah, it's an event happening next week from 11 to 12 October, and it's called Tech for Marketing, which is part of Tech Week Singapore. So basically, we're tech bros, Terence.
Tech bros.
Tech bros. We're tech bros. Tech bros all the way. So this event, Tech Week Singapore, is probably the biggest tech event in Asia. And we've been invited to speak about the journey of building Folklore over the past year. We're going to have a booth. We're going to do live in-person recordings. And the best thing, Terence, how much does it cost to attend this event?
I don't know. Is it possibly free?
Yes, it is.
Wow.
Yeah, it's free. I mean, this event is going to be expecting like 25,000 people at MBS. It's free to attend. Okay, and we have a link to sign up in the show notes. You can come by, you can check out. There'll be, like so many tech companies there: Google, Amazon, us, and like a bunch of others. It's like 2 whole floors. It's free to attend. And yeah, we're going to be speaking on 11th October. We're going to have a booth. So come by and say hi. And if you want to find out more, all the details are in the show notes. Use the link and hopefully we'll see you all there. And now, on to the episode. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Yala, your thrice weekly podcast where we talk about the hottest news with a touch of what, Terence?
Good old humor.
Good old humor, man.
Yeah.
How has life changed since the last time we recorded a podcast?
Let's see. Shanti Pereira won the gold medal in the Asian Games.
Gold medal, yeah, man.
I think that's the highlight, right? Like,
yeah.
It's after this, like, nothing else compares already. Like, everything else in the Asian Games. Are you still doing your live streaming of the Asian Games in your house?
No, man. I try to watch highlights, but you mean just leaving the TV on?
Yeah.
That's what you mean. That's like TV is what people call live streaming. Dude, it's just TV.
Essentially, nowadays.
Yeah, but I haven't been able to, man.
Can't be bothered, right?
Hey. Can't be bothered. The past few days, we've also been in and out of office. And also, I wouldn't say can't be bothered.
I mean, the reality is that, I think there was this build up towards Shanti Pereira's race.
Yeah.
And now that we've sort of crossed that hump, right? All the politicians have come out with their congratulatory emails and everything. Even ourselves also. I think I posted the selfie we took with Shanti Pereira and they say, congrats,
No, but that's what KFC said, what? It shouldn't just be about the selfies of Shanti or with Shanti.
Selfies of Shanti, yeah.
It should be all athletes.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, so which is true also. Like, the nice thing is after she won, it just felt like everybody was sharing, but hopefully that can translate more because we had another silver medalist, I think the rower.
Yeah.
Right. And yeah, like the Asian Games is still going on.
Yeah, so do your best to support, I would say, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. There are a lot of interesting sports. There are a lot of interesting sports that I never knew existed.
You were telling me about one over lunch yesterday.
Yeah, maybe that's my one shook thing. Yeah.
Okay. I see. Cool.
But yeah, before we jump to all that, right?
Yeah.
What's the one thing that we always want to tell people?
That if you're listening or watching this podcast on YouTube, it would help us a lot if you just click the follow, click the subscribe button wherever you are. If you're on Spotify, leave us a rating. If you're on Apple, I think you can still leave a rating. And yeah, it just helps the community grow. It helps our content reach you on your feeds and algorithms.
Yes.
And what else, Terence?
If you want to work with us, email us at contact@ministryoffunny.com.
Yeah.
I think some people on our subreddit are saying they're trying to find our emails, but we say it on every episode of the podcast.
Yeah, I think the person on Reddit, they missed out like a little Y, like Ministry of Funny or something.
I see.
So they got the contact details of another ministry.
Got it.
So it's Ministry of Funny. Yeah. It's a bit of a mouthful as the domain name, but yeah, contact@ministryoffunny.com. Hit us up and we will always respond.
Yeah. Don't email the wrong government agency.
Yeah.
Because you're looking for us.
Yeah, exactly.
But yes, big topics. Parliament again. Set. So it's always something, right?
Parliament is sitting like they said mid of September, then early October. I guess early September was for some they couldn't because of the presidential swearing swearing in or something.
Yeah. That's
right. So it's been a long time since we went back to Parliament.
Yeah.
They sat on the 3rd and 4th, which was Tuesday, Wednesday this week. And some interesting things came out.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess even in the live stream, you can see that the parliament seats are not all full as well, right? Much less occupied than like during the Gangbuster July and August sessions.
Yeah, Gangbuster July. Now it's like the off-season already, like Off-season,
yeah.
But I mean, the first topic we're talking about is related to something that we touched on a bit on our previous podcast, which is all building or discussing the study that was released early September, which was the minimum income standards, the MIS report, which was co-authored by someone from NUS Lee Kuan Yew School of Public Policy, and a professor who is a chair in sociology at NTU.
Teo Yu Yan, she authored This Is What Inequality Looks Like.
Yeah. So when that report came out, there were 3 ministries that put out a statement together, kind of like criticizing it or throwing shade at it, rebutting it. And it was actually debated in Parliament on the 3rd, I believe.
Yeah.
Wait, let's see. Was it the 3rd? 4th. It was 4th October. And essentially the one clip that is making its rounds is this debate between Eric Chua, who is the Senior Parliamentary Secretary for Social and Family Development, and Associate Professor Jamus Lim, who is a Workers' Party MP.
Yeah.
Because there was a PQ. Is it a PQ?
Parliamentary question.
Yeah, PQ. Yeah. So there was a PQ filed by Mr. Ang Wei Neng to ask the Minister for Social and Family Development, in view of the findings of the MIS report, whether the ministry will consider adjusting the financial assistance rendered to low-income families, and whether they will conduct their own study to kind of like beyond what is publicly available. So basically, will they change their own policies, and will they come up with their own study?
To counter, the study, because if they found that the results were not, accurate or not satisfactory to what they perceive as accurate, then they should maybe fund their own study.
Correct. Right? So Eric Chua stepped up and basically like kind of rebutted a few things. But before I dive into that, what made you want to talk about this?
I think it's those few things that they were rebutting. And they really zeroed in on a few items and they debated about whether these items are needs or wants, right? Because I think that's the crux of the debate here, right? Like, how do you define what's a need and a want to live with dignity in Singapore, right?
Yeah, correct.
And that's what a lot of the debate came up. That's what this debate was about, and very specific items were singled out for discussion, right?
Yeah, because basically, just one of the things that the government criticized about the report was that the definition of what is determined basic needs, right? It's not just limited to food, housing, and just the very basic stuff.
Yeah.
They said the report also kind of hinted at certain things that are more aspirational, like perfume and overseas holidays.
Yeah.
Right. So that was the crux of the debate. Basically, Eric Chua was kind of saying that ComCare, which is the government initiative to support low-income families, they really focused on what is the basic needs. Whereas this one, it is just more aspirational. Yeah, and specifically perfume and overseas holidays.
Correct,
yeah. So I mean, he did go into why the report maybe wasn't the best. He said it was 300 respondents. He said most of the respondents were not from low-income groups, so group dynamic kicks in. It covered aspirational stuff.
Yeah.
It said that low-income families receive as much support as middle income, which he said is not true. They receive more, and that they regularly review their thing.
Yeah.
And then Jamus came in and explained why perfume is important in Singapore.
Yeah, for dignity and all that.
Yeah,
right?
Why?
We can go into the debate about the perfume, right? But I think one important thing there is to point out that they were attacking at least the Eric Chua, right?
Eric Chua.
He was saying that the methodology of the survey and all isn't great, because the representation of demographics and all that in there were not very good, and group dynamics, blah blah blah, which are all part of no survey is perfect, right? There will always be some kind of bias in place, But if you really read through the methodology of how they did this report, both in 2021 and in 2022, And this round now, right? I think what really stuck out to me is that they did consider a lot of these things in how they did their survey, And I think the important thing that I really took from it is that the idea of doing it in a group really boils down to also like trying to represent everyone, and not making it about what you yourself value. Like, if you're very big on fishing, obviously a fishing rod is essential to you. Right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that every household needs a fishing rod to get by, right? So, I mean, there are pros and cons to like doing it in a group. The group dynamics things does affect everyone. The representation thing does affect the results slightly. But there's also the element that we're all doing it together. It's like let's all sit down and just really talk through what matters to us.
So it was a group of like people from different demographics.
They did focus groups of I think 8 people at a go, and then they did it such that every group you would have 1 or 2 people who are from living in private property and 1 or 2 living in rental flats, for example. So there's a bit of a, not to say it's an even distribution, but at least it's a bit more representative of what the population is. That means it's not like all lower income people, you know what I mean? Or it's not all rich people. It's a mixture to represent what, more closely represent what society is. And obviously, it can't 100% represent what society is because it's only 8 people, right? It's 1 or 2, it makes a big difference in the percentage. But I think the point there is that there are, although this is a study and it's statistics and everything, they are really trying to make it like really a discussion. It stems from a place of like humans talking to humans about what is important to you. And even in the methodology, even that commentary that they did about the methodology, they gave very specific examples beyond what you hear here about perfume, all that, about things like why for young people bubble tea is more than just eating sugar, right? Bubble tea is also a social experience. It's about going with your friends to a bubble tea shop, buying bubble tea. Talking about your day, things like that. So I think they gave a lot of illustrative examples about why these things, although they sound completely frivolous, they mean nothing to you and me. Like, we don't drink bubble tea at all, so why would anyone need bubble tea? But when you talk to a group of people between 19 to 64 years old, there's a large chunk of them say, hey, these communal spaces for us are important, whether it's bubble tea or kopi and all these things. And would you go out and say, bubble tea is not essential, But for these people who are in the survey group, they were saying things like that. And they also gave very specific examples about why tuition for children is not a want, it's a need, And, it's about things like, do you want your kid to grow up always feeling like he's behind, that he or she doesn't have the same opportunities that other people have? Or, why do you have to pay for enrichment classes for your child? There are ECAs in school and all this. Like, then the parents also ask, do you know what it takes to enter a ECA in school these days? So, very interesting. I think maybe even more interesting, the survey itself is like how they actually talk to these people in these focus groups.
But then it becomes a thing, right? Because, okay, like if you listen to Eric Chua, he was saying that, he talks about Comcare. And, I mean, it's good that there is help for low-income families. But then, how then would you draw the line? Because at some point, there needs to be a dollar amount that is deemed like, okay, this is below the threshold, we need to help. And then what do we help them with? Because if you ask me, if I put on my idealistic hat, of course we should care about what people want to aspire to. Because as a society, we don't want people to just be getting by. Especially when Singapore is so wealthy in so many ways. You see wealth everywhere. You also don't want a certain demographic to feel, okay, guys, you guys have your basic stuff, so you all shut up. But on the flip side, then like how you draw the line, Terence?
The classic. How do you draw
the line?
How
you draw the line, Terence?
I mean, you draw the line by doing surveys, by talking to people, 300 people in focus groups. And this is the interesting thing. This methodology of this survey it wasn't by these researchers. They didn't create it themselves. They were emulating. I don't know what's the term called in academics, but they were recreating this survey that has been conducted in a lot of other countries, Japan, Mexico, bunch of others that I can't remember, but it has been conducted internationally, where they talk to groups of people in focus, very intense focus groups, and really come to an understanding of what they people see as a minimum income standard. Then from there, then they start to do the calculations of what it would cost, and they go down to details like, okay, if you all say that clothing is important, accessibility to clothing is important. So it's much more desirable that you be able to buy something from Uniqlo than like from some other brand, right? Because Uniqlo is everywhere. And then they go to Uniqlo and then they find a piece of clothing and then they see how much that piece of clothing costs. So I think it's actually, this is how you draw the line, if you want to draw a line, is you have to conduct these surveys. You have to see how they are conducted internationally, recreate them here, and then come to some kind of agreement about, okay, this is, I think, based on how this survey has been conducted overseas and how the methodology you've done in Singapore, I think this is the best assessment of where the line is.
But Terence, you don't bring your foreign oil surveys you come to Singapore and do here. Okay, here very different. Okay, Terence.
Is it? So we don't benchmark ourselves to international KPIs.
Cannot. For certain things. For certain things you cannot. Because I think it's a very easy thing to say that, okay, the basic needs are met. But first of all, maybe it's because I can actually see where Eric Chua is coming from. At certain point, you need to base it on some sort of info. But at the same time, just the way the debate went about and the way it's a common thing, you poke holes in the methodology of the survey.
Yeah.
As opposed to kind of thinking about what the survey is implying, especially given that it has to do with cost of living. Because I remember way back when I was younger also, and wanting to save the world and all, I did work for water projects in developing countries.
Flexing now.
I mean,
Greta Thunberg
I haven't put my Greta Thunberg days. And the thing about the toilet, I think that was when I heard about Jamus Lim, the Singapore World Toilet Association, World Toilet Organization, right? And a big part of that, and also other sanitation measures, was that access to a clean toilet, right?
Yeah.
It actually has a lot to do with dignity, and dignity is super important to uplift people out of poverty.
Yeah.
And there have been so many studies that have been done.
Yeah.
There's one thing about the cleanliness and the hygiene, but just access to a clean toilet, it does a lot. And I remember thinking back then, I was like, oh shit, okay, that's an interesting way of looking at it.
Yeah.
And even if you Google clean toilets dignity, you get a bunch of reports and stuff and I think then it becomes one of those things if you have issues with this survey, I mean, okay, there are things that you can glean from it, but then I like what the Mr. Ang said, is there going to be plans to do your own report? Right.
Correct, yeah.
Because there's a lot of data that is not accessible to Singapore. And Eric Chua was kind of pushing back, saying that I think they were talking about one thing about the cost of $1,600 plus per person in a household is very similar to what MSF has determined to be the expenditure for one.
Yeah.
So that whole discrepancy, because I think the report was saying that the help is given only to the lowest 30%, whereas MSF says, it's 50% and below. So there's all these debates that are happening.
Yeah.
But then it feels I don't know, right now, I think it was annoying to see this report come out and then 3 ministries come together, put a statement out. And all the thing is shitting on the methodology. But then there's nothing else to counter that.
Yeah.
And that's why maybe it's a bit sore to accept.
Yeah, and maybe that's why I was trying to immediately point out that if you read the commentary on how they do the survey, things come to light that this survey has been done in many countries before. So it's it can be replicable, right? And how they've done it is they haven't taken it has to be accurately to represent what exactly is you need for survival versus what you need for living. It is a dialogue, right, to talk to people, and it can be revised every few years.
Yeah.
And that's why it was quite interesting. I think in this debate they talked about why, for example, mobile phone subscription has become part of
the
Comcare assistance. And that shows you that, that line that we talked about can move. It can move the times. 20 years ago, you tell people mobile phone, very important. They'll be like, come on, that's like a businessman luxury with those giant bricks that people carry in their cars and all that. But now it's you don't have a mobile phone. You can't even take public transport sometimes or even top up your cash card and things like that already. Right?
Yeah.
You need it for basic survival in Singapore already. What's the government service use? The SingPass and all that.
SingPass,
You need that, right?
Yeah.
So you need a mobile phone. And yeah, so we've seen that line can shift in terms of what it means to survive. But I guess the big debate is, do you need perfume to survive?
I think perfume also, why they use that word? They should use deodorant.
No, deodorant, yeah.
Because perfume, do you use perfume?
No.
Yeah, but you use deodorant.
Deodorant, yeah.
Yeah, I also don't use perfume. I use deodorant.
Yeah.
So perfume, just the word of it, and this one, I guess it was part of the report also.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, perfume, it does feel like a luxury.
Yeah, and they use jewelry also.
Yeah, jewelry also.
But actually, jewelry represents hair clips and things like that.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, having had long hair before, you do need hair clips.
Yeah.
You know?
Hey, Terence, nice to have. Okay, you can get by without hair clips. Okay?
Very hard.
Use paper clip or something.
Yeah, then you suffer because of the rust, and then you scratch yourself, then you go hospital, you pay more, right?
Yeah. Because, the perfume thing, what Jamus Lim rebutted with was that in a hot climate like Singapore, especially when you're going for job interviews, you want to smell presentable. But I guess the perfume thing is a bit of a thing. Like, it's deodorant. Just say deodorant.
Yeah.
Why not deodorant? Because I think everybody has been in a situation where either you yourself or you were in close proximity with someone who has BO, right?
Yeah.
And especially in Singapore where you're sweating all the time.
Yeah.
It's tough. And we have even had people trolls on the internet complain about certain individuals, not especially the workers who are outdoors a lot, saying, oh, their smells, they shouldn't be allowed into the public toilets at malls and all.
Yeah.
So it is a thing that has been discussed before. So I think it's less about it's not a nice to have. But perfume a bit of a tough sell of a word.
Yeah, maybe it's just the word, because when you hear perfume, it's associated with Sauvage and all these models
you
wearing
spray, into the air, then you walk into it and you twirl around.
Yeah.
But also part of the debate was when Eric Chua. So this happens a lot in Parliament. When they ask a question, I think Jamus said something. Oh, what you mentioned yesterday. Blah blah. Then Eric Chua takes I thank the member for making me remember what I said yesterday. It's a passive aggressive statement.
Yeah, it is.
Right. It's full of that. But he said that, he knows this is not going to be statistically relevant, but he had 2 phone calls.
Anecdotes.
Anecdotes with someone in the morning of the day.
Yeah.
Basically 2 residents who live in rental income flats. And he said he asked them, jewelry, perfumes, overseas travel, what do you think of this? And he said they both responded without coordinating, Terence, without independently that, boss, these are nice to have. And then he proceeded to say, okay, how would you like this how would you like to be able to afford or spend these things? Do you think it's government assistance? Do you think it's saving? Do you think it's working? And he said, boss, get a job, work hard, and then buy.
Yeah.
And then he used that as an argument.
Yeah.
Which I listened to it. Here you are criticizing a survey of being only 300 respondents, not being reflective.
Yeah.
And you can say it's not statistically significant, but that's like saying, hey, Terence, I'm not racist, but I don't like Chinese people.
Yeah. Anecdotal evidence is just anybody can come out with anecdotal evidence very easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. The hard work is in getting the numbers, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's the same thing, I don't know. You watch that, you're like,
yeah.
And there was a lot of stuff being discussed in Parliament about cost of living and money and shit like that.
Yeah, but that's it. Do you think holidays should be part of this minimum income standard? Because, the researchers themselves have acknowledged that it's a very contentious issue, holidays specifically, but whether they should be included in there.
Holidays?
But they say holidays in a 3-day drive to, Penang. Driving to Penang or something.
Also overseas travel.
Overseas travel.
Not just holidays, but overseas travel.
Yeah, and not necessarily to far away places, but really even next door to Malaysia and things like that. How much of that do you think is important for Singaporeans to have to live with dignity?
So that means the framing of the report is living with dignity.
No, I think it's living beyond just the survival, to live in Singapore and everything, and to be part of society, to have stuff to say when people say, hey, where are you traveling or something like that,
Yeah. So I guess maybe then is the framing. If the report clearly says is stuff for people to live beyond just basic needs, then I think it's critical. But if it's policy work with support, then I get a bit I don't know. Should it be part of it? I don't know. But who knows? You go out one weekend in Singapore, it might be more expensive than going to JB.
Yeah.
Right. So it's even cost effective to go to JB.
I was going to say that. There's sometimes when I get out of Singapore, I feel like at some point I feel like my bank account has a break. It's like taking a holiday where it's not bleeding so much. Still bleed, right? You bleed once for the travel, but after that, the bleed is a little more incremental, bit by bit. Yeah. Almost every time I go out and almost every restaurant or whatever you walk in and walk out, you're like, what? That plate of fries cost me $15.
Yeah,
literally yesterday, plate of fries cost me $15. Then plus another $5 for tea, and then you add in tax and like $25 just for basically one plate of fries and a drinker.
So maybe part of the comcare assistance should be a mandatory 1 weekend spent in JB a month. It will help you save money.
To help you, think about how to save money even while you're traveling. Yeah. So there is something to it, where going on holiday, just gets your mind out of this, wow, I'm bleeding money everywhere I go in Singapore, I'm bleeding money. Right?
And sometimes when you travel, you also appreciate Singapore more.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. When you go to a place where, at night, maybe it might not be the safest, or the roads got a lot of potholes, you come here in Singapore, you're like, oh, this is pretty dope. Pretty dope.
And I would also argue that today's economy, your kids need to be, exposed to the world a lot more, right? And not just through their phones or what. They have to be out there seeing the world, understanding how it works, and seeing opportunities of business. We always tell businesses, you got to go out there, right? You got to go out there and just
beyond Singapore.
Yeah, beyond Singapore. You can't just think of, but then when you're young, you just stay in Singapore, don't go anywhere, because that's not correct. Okay, maybe that's not what they're saying, right? Yeah. But I guess the what we're trying to argue here is that maybe travel a bit like having a mobile phone line, right? Being able to get out of the confines of Singapore and see the bigger world, the bigger market, the bigger everything that you can aspire towards will maybe help us produce more, Shanti Pereiras and all that than, people who just think about how to survive in high-cost Singapore, right?
Yeah.
And so I actually, as maybe you can call me privileged or whatnot, but I actually do feel like the researchers are actually correct to put that in, They're having at least some flexibility to get out of Singapore once in a while is important.
And I guess maybe it's the message or the goal that we want to aspire to. We all know that Singapore inequality is fucking crazy, right?
Yeah.
It's getting wider. You talk about wealth, you talk about social, you talk social mobility, you talk about everything inequality. So if the message is that, let's try and reduce inequality in every way.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not just wealth, maybe it's just access to certain things. It's a good message. And I think reports like this are super important.
Yeah.
And I mean, I hope it's done every 2 years, because even between 2021 and 2023, there were 5% increases for the expenditure. And I think it's good to have this so that the ministries, even if they're not doing their own report, they're answerable.
Yeah.
Right, because that's what we... it's the same thing we always default to, right? This is the minimum that's better than other minimums in other countries.
Yeah.
But then if Singapore is really as inclusive as we want it to be, then we should aspire to let's reduce inequality in every way.
Yeah.
Right. And you grow, you don't want this segment of the population just lagging behind in every way. They can survive. They got shelter, they got access to food, they got the budget meals at the hawker center. But there's also the social side of things, right? I think it's been proven multiple times in history, whenever there's so much inequality, there will be civil shit that happens.
Yeah.
Right.
It kind of reminds me of just in recent times, I went to a pretty pricey Japanese restaurant for anniversary dinner and everything. And I was just happened to make conversation with someone who was eating there alone also, right? And I think she was asking me and my wife about what our favorite restaurants are and all that. Then I think I was seated a bit further away, and then my wife was talking to her about their favorite Japanese restaurants and all. Then I'm just thinking, mine is either Sushiro or Genki Sushi or one of these places.
Or the favorite food would be Chai Peng office.
Chai Peng, or they're kind of and a lot of street food, right? I like all that Malaysian street food and things like that, right? And my wife was like, "Oh, come on, you can't mention this to the person. She's talking about like Michelin star restaurants and everything, and then like we can't possibly be saying Caesarea is our favorite Japanese restaurant."
Yo, Caesarea is fucking dope, man.
But yeah. So I mean, I'm not shitting on anyone for enjoying that good food or all that, but it really made me feel like, oh, I really don't have anything to say to this person when this person is asking me about what my favorite, Michelin star restaurant is like. Because I only maybe have been to a handful and I only know that many. But genuinely, I really prefer, the food that we eat on a day-to-day basis, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, of course, the restaurant experience is great. But a lot of times it's like, I that's not something I do regularly also.
Yeah.
But it just makes it, there's this gap in terms of being able to communicate and relate to people more when there's this gap like that.
And I think the current climate of like news, where everything, today is like what, COE reached a new high.
Yeah.
Then some maisonette, HDB maisonette sold for the highest price.
Yeah.
So maybe if this debate over like the minimum requirement was totally isolated in a time where everybody wasn't feeling that squeeze, it might be more palatable. Whereas now it's like, wow. So then it's back to optics, Tan Kin Lian's favorite word, right?
Yeah.
Tan Kin Lian or Gok Song?
Tan Kin
Lian's favorite word.
But in case y'all anybody who's like very angry on behalf of the researchers or all that, I think the researchers are quite happy with the publicity they've got based on the website. They've talked about how much news
what
coverage
is enough or something.
Yeah. So they sound quite pleased that they've provoked some kind of reaction, from all quarters, whether it's the media or parliament or ministries themselves. So I think that's the important starting point. It kicks off a big debate like we're having here, right?
Yeah, exactly.
About what's acceptable.
Yeah, that's the point of reports, right? That should make sense. And I mean, we're trying to get one of the researchers on our podcast.
I hope so. Yeah.
So hopefully that happens.
Yeah.
If you are one of them and listening to this, fuck yeah, let's chat. But cool, man.
But it's just something to think about, given the very, very, very explosive, pivotal year that this year is and what it represents. It is because it is our founding father Lee Kuan Yew's 100th birth anniversary. I got to think how to say that because it's not something that you say very often. 100th birth anniversary, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of big things going around. There are a lot of big celebrations going on around this date, right? But there's been a little bit of debate about one aspect of it that has maybe rubbed some people the wrong way. What's that?
Yeah, and I'm glad we spoke this topic, given that the first topic was a bit serious.
Yes.
Because I think this topic is fucking stupid. I mean, stupid in a good way to talk about, but objectively just ridiculous.
Yep.
So basically, there was also a discussion in Parliament on 3rd October where a PQ was filed, parliamentary question, by Miss Po Lee San to ask the Minister for Culture, Community and Youth whether the use of Mr. Lee Kuan Yew's image on the Yo's commemorative packet drinks just goes against the guidelines set out on the use of his name and image. Whether or not that's kosher. So then Alvin Tan, Senior Minister of State,
who's been on the podcast. Shout
out. He said that it is in line with guidelines.
Yeah.
And done very respectfully.
Yes.
And that there's no issue.
And MCCY has they've been in conversation with Yo's about it and how to make sure that it's done well.
Yeah. So basically the context is I'm sure everyone would have heard about some drink featuring Lee Kuan Yew's face done in a way that doesn't even potentially look accurately like Lee Kuan Yew. And it's Yo's, right? And they were they made 500,000 chrysanthemum tea packets with Lee Kuan Yew's portrait, not for commercial sale.
Yep.
It's just to be given out, given out to kind of show how the role that Lee Kuan Yew played in turning Singapore into a garden city. That's why it's green. That's why it's green.
Yeah.
So just off the top of your head, Terence, what do you think about this whole thing, the debate, the idea of putting Lee Kuan Yew on a drink packet?
Before, shout out to Yo's. I was a recipient of one of those packets.
Oh, how come?
When I needed, because I attended. I went to the Gardens by the Bay during the Mid Autumn Festival. Because I think it's the first time since my kid's born that these things are back because of COVID and all that, right? So it was very nice. It was a very fun event, but it was also one of the whole fucking hottest evenings that I chose to go . And
you go wear perfume or not?
No, I never wear. I just sweat it out.
Sweat
everyone was just sweating it out. But yeah, they were just giving out those packets around. And at first I was like, what's this? Like, then I saw Lee Kuan Yew's face, and they're like, oh yeah, it's free, you know. Oh, I was like, okay, that's nice, you know. Lee Kuan Yew still giving even beyond, even from the grave and everything. So yeah, shout out to those people handing out the free drinks. And
so when you were drinking it, what was running through your mind, Kitty?
I was just trying to quench my thirst. It was it was hell. But yeah, and then after that, I mean, I was quite tickled by the fact that Lee Kuan Yew's face was on the packet drink. But it brought me a lot of respite during that very hot day as well.
Was it cold?
No, it wasn't cold. But still, you know, I mean, whatever it is, chrysanthemum tea, you know, it's a nice what do you call it? Thirst quencher, right? Yeah. So, I mean, not a bad thing, not a bad thing.
Really,
Yeah.
So you have no issue with yours doing that?
Issue with yours doing that? Also, you're asking me about the larger picture about having plastering. Wait, there's different things. There's celebrating Lee Kuan Yew's 100th birth anniversary. There is using Lee Kuan Yew's image and likeness on commercial products, right? Those are, I think, those can be debated separately. Like what are your thoughts on both those things?
I think the 100th birth anniversary, I think that one, it's okay. I got no issues with it.
Okay.
I think it's damn stupid to like for yours to do that. And it's stupid not on their part. It's damn smart on their part. Because,
stupid?
I mean, it's stupid that it was allowed.
So stupid that the government allowed something like that.
Yeah, because
Why?
if you look at the MCCY guidelines for national identity and symbols, there's the coat of arms, flag, and anthem. There's the pledge, the lion head symbol, national flower, usage guidelines of national symbols, and literally a one category, name and image of founding Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew. And then they said, has drawn up the guidelines on appropriate use. The name or image or likeness of the late Mr. Lee Kuan Yew could be used for purposes of identifying with the nation, including on works of art or publications or items for charitable purposes. Should be accorded dignity and respect. Should not be used by individuals or private organizations for commercial or publicity purpose, nor to suggest any kind of official endorsement of product or services, and should be in accordance with all laws, including intellectual property law. So, basically, the fact that, not for commercial use, yours is not selling it.
You're not selling it.
But it's definitely for PR,
Yes, it is.
So that's where I feel like, how the hell is this possible? So that's where I'm confused. I agree it can be done respectfully, but I feel this is clearly a PR move.
But on the flip side, to me, having this on the drinks packet that is free for people, it's a million times better than when you drive down AYE. You will see a giant LKY 100 poster there by one of the big property developers. What does that poster do for you? What does it do for you in your day-to-day life versus a packet drink when it's on a very hot day? Right? Which one you tell? Okay, one of them maybe is closer to commercial use and all that, right? The product and everything. But one of them also has much more practical use for the day-to-day person, the layman on the street, compared to a poster on the AYE.
Correct.
Driving past.
I totally agree that a packet of drink has more use. But then why put Lee Kuan Yew's face there? Yours can do the exact same thing without Lee Kuan Yew's face.
Then so just your issues with the face, his face being there.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I think, you want to remember the founding father, founding prime minister and all, that's fine. But for a company to do that, it is, to me, it's clearly a PR thing.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm saying, I can imagine them saying, we're just to produce 500,000 drinks and give people for free.
Yeah.
No, cannot. But by putting Lee Kuan Yew's face on it, we are showing that we want to commemorate Singapore. No, it's a PR thing.
Well, but maybe, the face, if you're going to talk about LKY 100, is the person, right? His face is his face, right?
Yeah.
And if it's already been allowed that, if we already established just now what we're saying, the two parts, LKY 100 is a thing, right? You can't get away from it. And you're going to let people use it. I'm okay with people using the face. I don't see a big deal with it. Why need to protect his face as if it's like this
I'm
thing?
not saying protect.
Because remember after his funeral, I think for years you saw people with that black ribbon commemorative
on
thing
on the cars,
on the decals on cars. Like some of them even fucking like the whole boot of the car and everything. you would see Lee Kuan Yew's face.
Yeah.
I didn't see a lot of people like complaining about that at that point in time, which to me actually that one had bigger questions about like.
But that one individual, right? It's your own car. You do what you want with your own car.
But it's the same as individuals or corporations using the likeness of his face for whatever reason, right?
I think I got no issues with companies using the likeness, but as long as the guidelines to me, it is clearly for publicity purpose. Mm-hmm. So then what would be a case that is clearly for publicity purpose that MCCY would say no to?
I think there's some subjectivity there, lah. But it sounds like you can't, for example, produce a Lee Kuan Yew doll and sell that, right?
Yeah, because it's commercial.
Yeah, it's commercial.
But you give it free?
Then that's why I say MCCY would probably have to look at that, lah. And this one sounds like yours did already talk to the government and everything, but so okay, I mean, I'm okay with using the face. Why is it so weird to use the face? Why? Is it because it's disrespectful?
No, I don't think it's this. It just feels like this is clearly a commercial product. Like, but
it's not sold to anyone. It's like you could argue it's like charity almost. You give it for free to people. Like you can't even buy the packet by itself.
Yeah, I know. You can't even buy the packet.
You can't even buy it, yeah. It's just given for free, nothing else.
But like, does it make you feel prouder that is it really doing what it sets out to do to commemorate his 100-year birthday anniversary? Whereas you were drinking it, were you thinking of all Lee Kuan Yew's speeches and what he has done for Singapore?
So I think like we established the LKY 100 thing. I think you can have thoughts about that.
Yeah.
But now that LKY 100 is a thing, I'm okay whatever it is, whether than using his name or his likeness and all that. I'm actually okay.
So any company using it? Or is it depending on the product also?
With the guidelines and the product and what is the ultimate thing. Like you asked me, I would much rather yours be giving out these packet drinks with his face on it than someone just plastering a giant LKY 100 poster, like, 10 foot tall poster in the middle of the expressway that doesn't do anything for the person on the street,
I would actually prefer the billboard.
Why?
Because then, okay, you're doing what you want. So if they
plaster his face on the billboard, then how?
Then I just see the billboard. I'm like, okay, like your prerogative to put it on a billboard. It just feels like the drink which goes into people's hands. It's too PR for me. Like, it's just fucking PR. It's like if I were to stand outside and say the pledge in public, people walk past. They're like, okay, that guy's crazy, like just saying the pledge. But it's my way of showing that I care. And even if it's not seen by anyone, it's fine. But this drink thing where it's 500,000 drinks, there's just something that's very PR about it, lah.
I mean, it's all PR, right? Whether it's a big poster or the drink.
Yeah.
But the drink to me has more utility than a poster out there.
Let's say if you wanted to, make a product that is really epitomizes what Lee Kuan Yew did for Singapore, or like something that is like, I was thinking a documentary, but a documentary is like, it's a piece of content, so it's not really the most consumer thing. But it just feels like this, without it, is the same product. It's just Lee Kuan Yew's face on it.
Yeah.
So that's where I feel like, okay lah, then it's just my issue is that it's clearly PR. How is it not PR? So how did it pass the guidelines? If it's something that, I don't know, like, what would be an example? Like, maybe it's Lee Kuan Yew's favorite ingredient in chili sauce that is made, and there's this Lee Kuan Yew edition of chili sauce kind of thing that does not exist without this element of celebrating it. Then it feels like, okay, you are bringing together what you do, you're bringing together as some aspect of him, and making something new. Whereas this one is like, you already have this chrysanthemum tea, just put his face on it, and you're like, we're doing our part.
But they created a new packet for it, and
the Green City.
It's free for people.
Yeah.
So to me, it's it's still differentiated from like what they sell in stores and all that. So I mean, what I'm not understanding is why. Maybe I get where you're coming from if you're telling me that you don't like the whole LKY 100 thing. I can get with that. I can understand why people have disquiet about that. In fact, like, I would argue in some quarters that some people say the man didn't want to become a cult personality. He didn't want to be deified like that. We should respect that. But on the flip side, I would actually say all the more we should defy what he wants, all the more we should stand up for what Singapore is. And if it means that we celebrate LKY because he means a lot to every other Singaporean, then we should do it, regardless of what he individually wanted, right? His own wishes and all that. So that one, I think that one we can argue, and you and I, maybe we don't fall too far from the tree with regards to that. Like, then I think we're on the same argument. But this one, I'm like, actually, I'm much more for this Yo's packet drink than for all these other billboards and all this, like, and you know, even back then, people putting his face on their cars as decals on that. I mean, like, what did that mean? You know, that to me meant nothing. It wasn't. There was no potential benefit anyone else could derive from it other than like maybe we are both Lee Kuan Yew lovers, that kind of thing.
But that's the whole thing with social media. You tell me everything you post has benefit to other people. No, it says something about who you are.
Yeah, that's why I don't like the effects of social media a lot. But you tell me a chrysanthemum tea that I can give to you and then I have, and then we say cheers, then it nourishes both of us. Why not?
In fact, I have less issue people putting that thing on the car because I'm like, you do you, man. You want to post this long post about how much you love this, how much you do you. Yeah. I'm not going to say like everything you post must give me value. There's just something about pairing it with a drink that is only like given for free and all noble. Maybe it's just the cynicism of PR moves like this.
But if you don't like it, then don't drink it. That's all.
I know, but...
Why are you shitting on something that like is actually utility to people? It's
like it's couched in complete PR. I mean, it's like, you know, when you hear this one company that is clearly flouting like climate change requirements and all, and then they just have this one PR exercise, and they're like, oh my god, we're so amazing, we love saving the world and all, and this one just reeks of that.
Yeah, so to me, putting a billboard reeks of that. Putting some billboard that reeks of that, like, you know, oh, LKY 100, we're so proud of Singapore, but you know, what are you doing for the everyday Singaporean?
But why does it matter that everything a company does must be for the everyday Singaporean? Your drinks also is only if you go to MBS, right? I can't get a free drink anywhere.
Gardens by the Bay.
Gardens by the Way.
Which is also a free place to go.
It's not put at like void decks or anything where people can just go and take. Right?
I know that, yeah. Right. But if you wanted to, you could go and take it. And they are distributing it at, you know, I'm guessing they'll be distributing it at big communal events across Singapore.
LKY events, probably.
Maybe even Deepavali and Christmas and all that. You'll start seeing it.
Yeah.
But to me, it's okay. That's cool. I'd rather they do that than, I mean, to me, okay, you replace everything that you say about it with the billboard. Like, we start shitting on the billboard. It would be, the billboard is like, there's even less utility for the world.
But that's my point. Like, everything a company does doesn't have to have utility for everyone.
Correct.
I think for me, the biggest thing is like when the guideline says it should not be used by private organizations for commercial or publicity purposes. This one feels like, and not to suggest any kind of official endorsement of products or services. Yeah, it just feels like it's a bit too grey for me.
Okay. So I think then your bigger issue is just with like the fact that it can be used as PR by commercial entities.
Yeah, because if they say no private organization for commercial and then they remove the publicity purposes, then I'm like, okay that's why I feel like, how did this get passed?
Yeah. Then I think, okay then it sort of overlaps with that. What is this whole LKY 100 thing?
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Yeah. But to me, I when I gave my shout out to Yos, I'm giving out like my shout out was like genuinely like, okay, at least it's a nice gesture.
I disagree with your shout out. I do an unshout out to Yos.
You unshout out, but then there's no there's no one is doing it. But in the argument, no company will be doing it properly for PR, because every one of them is doing it for PR purposes, right?
But which other companies is using his face that blatantly in a consumer good that is given out like en masse like that?
I don't know yet. All I've seen is those big billboards, you know.
Yeah.
Which I think, to me, is even more is more distasteful than just using his likeness.
To me, that's similar to a Facebook post. Like, people post Facebook, I don't give a shit what you post. Where's the drink thing? Maybe.
But the drink thing has an actual benefit for you. I think the fixation on
the PR thing,
because it's a drink. Like, it doesn't.
Let's say if it was on an easy link card.
Okay, then would that be a bigger issue? Because
maybe it's less. Maybe it's less of an issue because also yours is clearly a commercial company.
Yeah.
EasyLink, you know, I mean, of course, privatization of SMRT and all that. Yeah. But let's say it's on your, what's the government thing?
On your dollar note, you put the face on a dollar note.
I mean, they're already the coins, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
Right. Yeah.
That one, I got less issue.
Not coins, dollar notes, like Yusof Ishak. Yeah, so I mean, we have used people's likeness and faces on, things before that we don't even know what. Money can be used for a lot of things. Money can be used by money launderers to go and buy Lamborghinis. Money can be used. So we can't control how money is used, but the likeness of the person is there as a form of respect also.
Yeah. So, but money in some way is like a is a thing that is part of society, you know. Whereas the Yo's packet drink just feels like it's too commercial already.
It's a drink. It's something
too commercial.
To quench your thirst.
No, it's
so
too commercial.
I think I can't tell what your argument is between like why the billboards would be okay and the packet drink not okay. You see, that's why I'm like, why the? Is it just contrarian? For the sake of being contrarian, right?
No.
Like, I don't see you arguing about like the billboards and all that. And then if it's about a face, then then we shouldn't have things like the like UK wouldn't have things like the Queen's face on the stamps and things like that, right? Because that's using someone's likeness for commercial purposes in some ways, a public good and all.
I don't know, something about the drink and the consumer good.
Yeah.
It's too. I think the crux of it is that it's clearly a commercial company doing it for PR purposes, whereas the stamp still feels like, okay, this is part of
it's public good.
It's a public good.
Same for cash also.
So maybe it's something there. So I know like it's not coming out clearly, and I was thinking, what the fuck can I explain it clearly? But deep down in my bones, right?
Yeah.
Now the thing is, like, I've totally removed any possibility of me being able to drink the Yo's thing in public, lah. If I do receive it, and just so happened as a Yalabat listener, I cannot.
Yeah, you cannot.
I have to openly chastise it and shit on it and not drink it. Even if I'm sweating my balls off and I'm totally dehydrated, I cannot drink it.
Yeah. But what would that question about how people will be inappropriately, disposing?
Oh, that one was stupid.
I think that was a damn stupid question.
No, I thought the question, in fact, was good in the sense that I found the response, that whole interaction, maybe the question and the response was just like weird.
Yeah.
And it was Polly San herself who asked, right?
Yeah.
Something about how can we ensure that it's disposed of with respect.
Yeah.
Right? And what was Alvin Tan's response?
No, I mean that he reminds people to dispose of it
respectfully.
Is it just appropriately?
Appropriately.
Right? Just, I think what he wanted essentially was just saying, just throw it in the dustbin. Don't litter on the floor. Don't step on it. Don't burn it. Like any other thing that you want to throw away, right?
Yeah.
I just found it hilarious because it's not like when like I was saying, like, it's not like when the UK issues, stamps with the king and all that, they ask you, please lick it respectfully, Everyone's going to be licking your queen or your king's face.
The back of the queen.
Please lick it respectfully. No, nobody does. You put it out there, you just deal with it. So I just felt like that whole exchange was completely unnecessary. And then I think a lot of social media was like, what? This is what we're debating in Parliament? What the hell? Which I also agree with.
This is why it was so funny. Like, the question when she said it, I'm like, the question, like, I just found this whole thing very, very funny. To me, it shouldn't have been approved by MCCY.
Okay.
So anything that comes to it is just like comedy.
So in the perfect world for you, no corporation would have like anything to say or sponsor or do anything about this. The perfect world.
Wow, perfect world.
Yeah.
I think perfect world, maybe they should have to pay a fee that goes to a fund that is donated to some cause. Like every time you use like Lee Kuan Yew's face, you have to pay like a licensing fee.
Tax. It becomes a very commercial arrangement already, right?
Correct, but then the funds are raised for like, I don't know, the ST pocket fund or some sort of fund that goes towards, I don't know, GST rebates or something like that.
But kind of dangerous. Imagine if like FTX was still around and they were like, buying LKY 100, everything.
But then if the funds, of course, then you can become a thing like you make sure that the money is not just on paper only, right? So then it becomes, okay, then you are combining what the companies want to do with an actual benefit that really helps Singapore in general.
Probably like some kind of like, LKY 100 fund or something.
Yeah, exactly. Is there LKY 100 fund?
Don't know, man, but that sounds like, at least something that everyone can get behind. Then
you can make how many packets you want also.
Yeah.
Oh wait, there's a Lee Kuan Yew Centennial Fund launched.
Oh, okay. And what does it do?
To support about 2,000 students annually through scholarships and programs.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. So who knows? Maybe those are the discussions that, in partnership with these
Suddenly yours is the biggest contributor. Then I'm like, okay, yours, I take back my unshout out.
You'll drink one whole carton right now.
5 groups, but yeah lah. So then the likeness, because even then the likeness, who owns it? His estate or what? Like,
I think it's like public.
I guess maybe as a politician, there's something there lah.
Yeah.
Yeah lah.
You know, the crazy thing is that, Lee Kuan Yew himself has said, please don't do this kind of thing. Like, please don't make me the center of attention after I die and all that. Don't create a cult of personality around me. Because I think he saw that in his days, right, as a leader, he saw that happening in other countries and dictators coming forward and basically making themselves out like gods, right?
Yeah.
But this is unfortunately he doesn't
500,000 news packets. 500,000 news packets.
Quenching the thirst of 500,000 Singaporeans on hot.
Yeah.
Please, someone dig up like how much Yo has donated to the Centennial Fund so that Harish will end up having to.
Yeah, okay. If they donated a lot, I will drink a shit ton. Like I will just drink like however packets I need to drink.
Yeah. For every like $100,000, you will drink like, I don't know, one packet now.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
But yeah.
Cool.
Let us know what you think about this LKY 100 Yo's packet drink.
Yeah.
And what is your one shock comment aside from all this?
My one shock comment was I mean, in some way like I mean what I mentioned just now, that one post. Wait, let me pull it up. Hang on. You got yours?
I think it's quite interesting that our last discussion on episode 444 about the government monitoring business profiteering. I think there are a couple of interesting posts on our subreddit by accidental jurist and internet lurker. Just talking about it's a very nuanced discussion, right? About needs and wants and businesses, how much support businesses need from the government, and how rising costs, how are they, how the cost split between the consumer and the business and things like that. So I think everyone has listed some very interesting links to read and about the theory about how to think about some of these things. So it's worth checking out. Yeah. So shout out to Accidental Jurist and Internet Lurker 96.
I see. Okay. Yeah. Mine was something that we mentioned at the start of the podcast about the contact for Yalabat. Basically, someone Google contact at Ministry of Funny while missing out the I and the first thing that came up was the contact us at IMH.
Okay.
And I mean, it just made me think like like we something we have debated in the past, right? Whether we need a website, whether Yalabat should be more Googleable. I mean, we own the domain names for both ministryofunny.com, yalabat.com, oneshokting.com, and yeah, we just haven't used it yet. Which brings back the question always like, should we at some point? But yeah, it's just something, because I don't know how many people are actually searching for us on Google.
Yeah.
Right. We don't know. But yeah, just made me think.
Yeah, LKY 100 landing page.
Yalabat, /LKY 100. Yeah. But yeah, that was my one shock comment.
Yeah. And your one shock thing?
My one shock thing. So I saw this thing being posted online. Like there's this recent HBO show called Winning Time with the LA Lakers or something.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I saw this one thing on TikTok, and then I looked this guy out. There's this guy, John Frank Like, who did some of the videography for the scenes in the documentary, which shows like on the court movement around the players playing and very cinematically shot. So how he does it, right, he's actually on rollerblades.
Oh,
because he was a professional rollerblader and skateboarder, and then he went to film school. So he's got this very unique skill of like being able to glide on the court while using like $100,000 camera and creating the scenes. And on his YouTube channel, I mean, he only has 889 subscribers. But you look at the clips, it's fucking great, man. Like it shows how fluid it is and makes me want to watch the show.
I see.
Because you see, he's literally roller skating on the thing, going up on ramps to catch the footage as the guy dunks on the court, and it looks epic, man.
It's a drama. I mean, it's a
fictionalized drama or something.
Fictionalized drama.
Yeah. Oh, Winning Time with, Winning Time, I think. That's the thing. So yeah, you look at the footage; it's pretty dope, man.
But it's based on a true story, I suppose.
Yeah, I think it's based on a true story.
Lakers and all.
Yeah. So the way he shoots it. There's some BTS clips on his profile on YouTube also, and it's pretty cool.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Rollerblade camera operator. Okay, cool. And what about your one stroke thing?
My one stroke thing actually kind of related to sports also. It's just a recent match between Tottenham and Liverpool, where there was a big question about the use of video assisted refereeing.
Yeah.
Basically, there was a long story short. There was a controversy where there was a goal, but the goal was disallowed by the referees on the pitch. And then by the right, they're supposed to go to the video assistant referees, and then the video assistant referees are supposed to tell them whether the decision was correct. And the VAR referees actually, they thought the goal was allowed. So they were like, they just said was, oh, check complete, And that was the correct answer, that the goal stands. But because actually the referees on the pitch had actually disallowed the goal, thinking it was offside. So by the VAR referees saying check complete, it actually there was the what's the scientific term? Like the false negative, is it? Yeah. So ends up then after that they restarted the match, thinking that there was the on the pitch they restarted the match thinking that there was no goal. But actually in the VAR office they were like, oh shit, we got it wrong. And so this whole thing has been quite a big controversy because a lot of football fans don't like VAR. And VAR has led to quite big changes in the game in recent times, starting from the World Cup where extra time was like a lot of extra time in the matches were 10 minutes long. But it's quite interesting because now they've actually not only they've come out and admitted the error, but they've also released the audio of what the officials in the VAR office were saying while the whole thing was going on. And it's quite interesting because I think it's the first time we're really hearing how they talk and everything. And basically this was like, oh fuck kind of moment between all the officials, and they're like, oh fuck, what can we do? Like, oh no, they've restarted the match, there's nothing we can do. Delay now, they've restarted nothing. So it's quite interesting just to hear for the first time how these officials actually talk amongst each other and how the VAR works and all. I'm just keeping watch on this because it's still a developing story.
Because it was a monumental game also, right?
Very, very big game that you could argue it's just one game, but at the same time, nowadays the Premier League is decided by, by 1 or 2 points a lot of times, the championship. So Liverpool would have gone top of the table if they had won this game. And they were already like one man down. They had one person sent off by this point when they supposedly scored this goal.
And it would have made it 2-0, right?
1-0, I think. Still 1-0. It was gonna hit, 1-0.
Okay, yeah.
Which would have made a huge impact on the game. And so it's just technology being, integrated into games, but then human error again causing the technology to be redundant.
But
so it was a quite interesting discussion,
Quite interesting. But you also made it a point that you hinted that your one stroke thing might be a certain sport you watched at the Asian Games.
Okay, we can talk about it because I know you're eager to talk about it. But I was exposed to kabaddi for the first time watching this Asian Games.
And what did you watch? What does it entail, Terence?
Actually, maybe you can explain kabaddi better. Why
do you think I know what kabaddi? I think it's kabaddi.
You're familiar.
It's not kabaddi.
Then what is it?
It's kabaddi.
Oh, okay. Because I'm thinking of the buddy thing.
Like kabaddi, is it?
No, it's just buddies.
Terence.
Like the contestants is, from what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong.
I'm not an expert on kabaddi.
Yeah, but correct me, you know it better than I do, that's for sure, right?
What?
Because you've talked about it before.
Okay.
Like it's two teams of 7 people each.
Yeah.
It's basically like tag or police and thief or whatever you call it, but they have to stay on each side of a court, and then one person from each team goes to the other side and tries to tag someone of the opponent and then return to your half of the court.
Yeah.
And that's how you score points. The more people you tag and then you return to your side of the court, the more points you score.
Yeah.
But certain strange parameters are put around, like I think of the 7 people, like everyone has to be holding someone's hand at the same time, right? Like you have to at least be holding one other person's hand at the same time, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. And so it creates a kind of like I don't know what's the game, chicken, where the mother chicken is trying to defend the chickens behind her from a wolf, trying to tag the chickens behind her.
Yeah.
Right,
I don't know whether you need to be holding hands.
But they were holding hands when I was watching.
They were holding hands. Maybe to pull the person back, because you want to go into the opposition touch.
No, not to pull the person back. This is the defense, the side that's defending against being tagged.
Oh, so they're all holding hands.
They're holding hands, yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
I mean, the more interesting thing for me was that the name Kabaddi.
Okay.
I mean, like it needs to be a 30-second time limit where they have to go in. And one thing that they need to do is that the raider, who is the person going into the opposition thing, must loudly chant Kabaddi lah.
Yeah, but that wasn't in the Asian Games one.
Oh, it wasn't in Asian Games.
It was just quiet. Yeah.
Oh, it's just quiet.
Yeah. So maybe you are reading like a village version of the.
It's the standard style, lah, dude. It's the standard style. But like first of all, I'm not an expert on Kabaddi.
Okay.
I've always thought it's an interesting sport. And yesterday we were talking about how it came about, lah. So basically, for general knowledge, it is common among the Arya tribal people who lived in the Mulai geographical region of ancient Tamil Nadu. It is a national sport of Bangladesh, and it is a state game of a number of Indian states.
Okay.
So I mean, it's popular in the Indian subcontinent, but there are a lot of teams that compete, lah. Yeah. And now in the Asian Games, it is competing.
I wonder if Singapore has a team. And that's what I'm interested to know.
Yeah. I don't know. Singapore Kabaddi.
Because it does look like a fun game, like if you had a bunch of friends and a very small confined space. It's a fun game to play.
So there's a Kabaddi association in central Singapore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I mean, interesting lah. Like, interesting sport.
Yeah. Have you ever played it yourself before?
No, I haven't. I don't think so.
Neither have I. Never experienced it. So it was quite interesting.
We do a Yalabat meet and greet.
With Kabaddi.
Kabaddi, yeah, correct.
Yeah. Maybe one day. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we do. Oh, we don't know whether we have the Asian Games. But there is a team, and it's a sport, man.
Yeah, interesting.
Cool, man.
But yeah, so that was our 3 one-shot things this time around. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. 3 one-shot things. Thanks so much for listening, everybody. And remember, if you enjoyed this, follow us, subscribe to us, give us a rating. Hit us up at contact@ministryoffunny.com if you want to work with us in any way. And we'll talk to you all soon.
Yeah. And subreddit also.
Subreddit also. Okay, cool.
Peace.